Hi, and thanks for listening to Gossip with Celebrity, brought to you by Celebrity.com. This week we talk about the Royals and that crazy Tatler cover story, Lana Del Rey, and Central Park Karen. Our user feedback is about how awesome we are, and we end with our weekly feature, the comments of the week. The stories, photos, and tweets we talk about can be found at Celebrity.com/podcast under episode 53. Hi, I'm Katie, the founder and editor of Celebrity.com, and I write as Celebrity.
And I'm Chandra. I'm the head writer for Celebrity, and I write as Kaiser.
So we took last week off because we had Memorial Day, and
yes. And did you have a good Memorial Day?
It was okay. I mean, it was nice to get a little break, but then it made the week feel shittier than normal until it got really good with the good gossip this week.
I thought the week felt shorter. I didn't think it felt shitty.
Maybe I'm just in a bad mood, permanently. I took an exotic dance class last night over Zoom, and that was the highlight of my week because I felt really awkward and not sexy at all, and I have bruises from it today. But the lady who taught it was a legit exotic dancer, and she was just mesmerizing, the stuff she could do. And she was really sweet to us. She didn't make me feel bad or anything. She made me feel competent and stuff. But it was really cool taking that from her. I didn't know you could move your body that way.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I really know about pole dancing is from that video I saw of Jennifer Lopez preparing for Hustlers, training for pole dancing. She made it seem like it was one of the hardest things she's ever done. She spent years as a professional dancer. I think it's kind of crazy to try to pick it up, but I mean, I'm sure it's fun.
It's fun. I'm not doing pole dancing yet because I don't have a pole at my house. I took the lessons maybe 4 years ago, and I was still on their mailing list. And because they closed down early, I wanted to support them. But yeah, this was floor dancing where you're grinding your hips on the floor, for performance and stuff. And it hurt, and it was hard, and I was sweaty and tired. And I thought I was in good shape, but I'll do a few more. I got some more classes on my punch card. It was just fun to meet new people and see their houses.
Yeah. Well, I haven't been doing any of that. I've just been going for walks and I've been binge watching Hannibal, which I never watched when it was first on. I've been a huge Thomas Harris fan. He wrote the original books.
Oh, okay.
The Hannibal series is sort of based on Thomas Harris's Red Dragon, but it's sort of a reimagining of what it was like between Hannibal and this FBI profiler called Will Graham.
Okay.
And Will Graham is played by Hugh Dancy. And it's good. I think that they get a lot of things right about, legitimately from the books. And then there's some really crazy stuff. And anyway, I've been obsessed with this series. I have a lot of problems with it, but it's still really good. And the acting is great.
I tried to watch it because you were writing about it on Twitter, and I was like, oh, we could talk about that on the podcast. But I only got about 40 minutes into the first episode, and I was like, oh, no, hell no. Because it's scary and creepy, and you know how I am about true crime. I can watch horror and supernatural and slasher movies, stuff that doesn't seem real. But this has that veneer of reality to it, even though it's ridiculous, and that bugs me.
Well, a lot of people always cite Thomas Harris's Red Dragon as one of the scariest books they've ever read because of all the serial killers and how realistic it is, the way the serial killers are hunting for the victims.
Ooh.
I think it has that root of it in the show. As I was watching it, I was amazed at how they created these moments of just sheer, pure psychological horror. And the imagery is gorgeous and disturbing, and I'm surprised that I haven't had nightmares, actually, but I haven't.
It was really gory. I liked the acting, and in the first episode, I was struck by Hugh Dancy. He's just so affected by everything, and everybody's trying to help him out. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, if that was a woman, they would never do that for her, and they'd call her hysterical. Is that fair?
I think that's sort of fair. Yeah, they definitely make Will Graham out to be this unicorn of FBI profiling. And, he's given such huge allowances. And the head of the behavioral sciences obsessed with working with Will Graham. I don't think that's realistic at all. I think profilers are a dime a dozen. No offense to profilers out there, but I think there are a lot of different kinds of people who could do that kind of work.
Yeah, it's probably like any other job. There are people who are good and they're like, oh, that person's good, but it's not like hero worship. That's cool that you have a new show though, and it has quite a few seasons, right?
Only 3, and I'm in the 2nd season right now because I've been binge watching so hard. But they're only like 13 episodes per season.
Yeah.
Still, it's really good and it's very high quality. I just have problems with the police procedural part of it. I don't think that's realistic at all, but it's fun.
They always make it seem like the people are more competent and they solve it quicker. Is that an issue?
No.
Okay.
In this show, they're all incompetent.
Oh.
Like, none of these highly trained psychiatrists / FBI profilers can see beyond their own nose. A cannibal is in their midst, manipulating all of them. They're like, oh, but he's such a nice guy. Like, none of them are making the connection. I'm like, how incompetent are these fools? Anyway.
For you guys who love crime shows, there's so much. Like, especially on Acorn and all the British and Danish and European shows, there's so many crime dramas.
Yeah. Sometimes I can judge those pretty harshly. Like, I abandoned The Killing after 1 season because the writing was so fucking stupid.
Okay.
I mean, there are tons of good British shows, but there are a few stupid ones, too, where it's just like, I don't understand what these police officers think they're doing. You know, they're kind of winging it and they're not really using forensics anymore. And it's set in modern times. And they're like, oh, forensics doesn't matter. No, it really does. But anyway, yeah, I love police procedurals, but not all police procedurals are good or well written or realistic.
Yeah. So I went to an online podcasting conference over the weekend. I went to some of it. I didn't go to all of it because it was a lot to do. But one thing they kept saying is that we need to ask our listeners for something. And it's called a call to action. So I wanted to do that. So here it is. If you guys write us a 5-star review and email the screenshot to me at info@celebrity, you can win a Zoom chat with me. It's like I'll pick a random person every week to win a Zoom chat with me. I mean, I don't know what to offer people, and that's why I'm bad at this, because I don't know if that's a good prize or not, because it's practically free to talk to me. Like, you can talk to me anyway. I'll Zoom you if you want. But okay, write us a 5-star review and send me a screenshot and I'll chat you on Zoom. You know, I'll pick one person if it's a lot of people. But I need to come up with something better. There's a weekly Zoom chat too you can join. It's Wednesday at 4 p.m. With me and the other celebrity readers. And I'm going to put the sign up for that in the post of this podcast, number 53. That's free anyway. So.
All right. Next time, I'll convince her to spring for a DVD or something.
What'd you say you were going to convince me to do?
Spring for a DVD.
A DVD.
A free DVD.
People don't want a DVD. Oh, we can do that. All right. Next week, I'll give like a Vudu or a Hulu credit or something like that.
Oh, that would be good, a Vudu credit. That's awesome.
That's a better idea. This was shitty, but I was like, you can talk to me. I'm so interesting. All right, but that's the prize this week. Next week, I'll come up with something better. So this week was insane with the Tatler story. We got to talk about the Tatler story. This was great. I'm so glad this happened.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It really is. Thank you, Tatler, for doing this.
For your shadiness. So Duchess Kate is covering Tatler. What's that photo from of her in the white dress? Is that a BAFTA?
BAFTA's from 2 years ago.
Okay. So she's covering Tatler, and the headline reads, "How the Crisis Made Kate the Kingmaker." And then it says Catherine the Great on it. There's all sorts of theories of how this came about, but it sounds like it started out trying to make her look like she's working hard and she's capable, and the Cambridges got screwed over because the Sussexes left. But they ended up sounding so fucking petty and lazy.
Right. Oh. And so now that's the story. How did this go wrong? How did this puff piece that was supposed to be sugary about the future queen and how hard she works, how did that end up becoming what it is now? And so that is like the great story that we've been enjoying all week. Tatler knew what they were doing. They released the first quotes, and they were all of the big quotes about how Kate works as hard as a CEO without any of the benefits or vacation time and all of that stuff. It was so obviously from Camp Cambridge. But then once the full Tatler piece came out, it was so shady, and there were so many really bad elements to it, like damaging to the Cambridges elements to it.
And it sounded like some of them came straight from the Cambridges and some of them came from people close to them. Maybe Tatler was trying to make it sound balanced, but overall it sounded super shady. And
right. And so you want to get to the denials? Denial became an extra layer of amazingness.
That made it even better. So Kensington Palace sent out a statement that said, "This story contains a swath of inaccuracies and false misrepresentations which were not put to Kensington Palace prior to publication." Okay.
Right. Isn't that interesting wording? First of all, let's just talk about the wording there.
Okay.
Which were not put to Kensington Palace prior to publication. They didn't say that they didn't know anything about the article. They just said that they didn't get to read the article before it was published.
Yeah.
That's what that's saying. And they are making that into a point because they usually do get approval over what's written.
Oh. And we know that the editor went to school with Kate, the Tatler editor.
Right.
And so in response to that, it said that Tatler's editor-in-chief, Richard Denon, stands behind the reporting of Anna Pasternak and her sources. Kensington Palace knew we were running the Catherine the Great cover months ago, and we asked them to work together on it. The fact they are denying they ever knew is categorically false.
Right. Okay, so Kensington Palace didn't deny knowing about it.
Yeah.
They denied reading the final product. So both of these have so much to parse. So Kensington Palace knew about it. They approved it. And as Anna Pasternak made clear, Kate and William authorized their friends to speak on the record, or, various kinds of on the record. They agreed to be quoted in the piece.
Yeah.
And people must have just gone fucking bonkers. I mean, Anna Pasternak must have gone to, Turnip Toff headquarters in Norfolk, and all of these rich bitches, these rich aristocratic women, are looking down their noses at Kate, and that's like half the Tatler piece.
But a lot of it too is just about how Kate is so overworked and she's working so hard, and it's all the Sussex's fault for leaving.
Right, and that's all the Kensington Palace stuff. That's all the stuff that they wanted out there.
Yeah, and it sounds so ridiculously tone deaf and just self-absorbed, and we always knew they were that way. But now they're really showing their asses. And I wanted to talk about this. There's so much more to talk about, but this is my favorite little part, is the big story about how Meghan made Kate cry. Well, in the article, it was about the little bridesmaids wearing tights or not. And can I read this a little bit?
Yeah, let me just do the background on this a little bit. So 2018, that fall, 2018, the smear campaign against Meghan really ramps up. And one of the centerpiece stories of this smear campaign that fall was that Meghan made Kate cry. And the original story didn't have any context. We never knew what Meghan did to make Kate cry. And so for the past year and a half, basically, we've heard different theories about what happened at that pre-wedding rehearsal, fitting something, where Kate was in tears, crying her white, lazy tears. and we've never really gotten a solid answer about what exactly fucking happened.
Yeah.
And so it's become this thing of, remember, Meghan made Kate cry. So anyway, so Tatler tries to tell the background on what exactly happened. So here is their version of it.
Then there was an incident at the wedding rehearsal, another friend of the Cambridges claims. It was a hot day, and apparently there was a row over whether the bridesmaids should wear tights or not. Kate, following protocol, felt that they should. Meghan didn't want them to. The photograph suggests that Meghan won. Kate, who has impeccable manners, sought the opportunity to put Meghan in her place, reprimanding her for speaking imperiously to her Kensington Palace staff. And then it goes on to say that there's stories about Meghan being tough to deal with and Kate not. And
Kate keeps her staff, whereas Meghan doesn't. Doesn't that say everything? Listen, Kate and William don't keep staff either.
Yeah.
None of them want to work with Carol Middleton. That's a big thing. And plus, they're lazy as hell. Kate just lost Catherine Quinn, her press secretary or whatever, her stage manager.
Yeah.
Okay, so the whole tights thing, it was Meghan's wedding. It was a warm day. Of course she wanted to have a say about whether or not her little children bridesmaids would wear tights.
And
who cares?
Her wedding, she has the final say.
Right. But no, Kate had to put her in her place.
It was a super warm day, too. It was a super warm day that day.
Yeah.
All right. So then, after all this story came out, somebody, the Cambridges, went to the Daily Mail to deny it. And we'll get into some other details, too, after this. But I wanted to read their denial of this stupid tight story because it wasn't a denial.
Yeah. All right, this is from Richard Kay's piece, and if you're a long-standing royal follower, you know that Prince William runs to Richard Kay to deny all the big stories. Richard Kay is one of his go-to guys. So this is Richard Kay's version of it. Go ahead.
Had Kate intervened, as the article suggests, say friends, it would have been not just because she knew that tights looked neater, but also as a mark of respect to the Queen. According to insiders, the tights episode, as reported by Tatler, is not quite right. Oh, so it happened. It happened.
Uh-huh.
But, Kate wasn't on mean. She was just doing her job for once. Like, give me a fucking break. They're ridiculous. They're so ridiculous. So the tights thing, now we know how petty they are. But wait, there's more. In the Tatler article, they're blaming Meghan and Harry for the fact that they actually have to fucking work.
Yeah, so this quote, I mean, did you want to read it or?
You can read it. Do you know where I am?
The Meghan and Harry have been so selfish?
Yeah.
All right, well, here's the quote. Meghan and Harry have been so selfish, says a friend of the Cambridges. William and Catherine really wanted to be hands-on parents, and the Sussexes have effectively thrown their 3 children under a bus. There goes their morning school runs, as the responsibilities on them are now enormous.
Are you fucking kidding me? So it's Meghan and Harry's fault that they can't drive their kids to school and balance, making a few calls. They have a shit ton of staff who could do stuff for them.
Kate is zooming herself to the bone, Katie. You do not understand this. She is working so hard, making 1 Zoom call a week.
All right, I want to play this excerpt. Here's an excerpt.
She is zooming herself into an early grave. You do not understand.
Okay, here's an excerpt from our Zoom meeting on Wednesday where everybody's clowning on Will and Kate for being lazy.
Yeah, someone complaining that they're so rushed off their feet being a mother of 3 with staff in a massive house and a massive estate. Yeah, it's not going to fly in the same way that it did, like you said, a year ago.
I mean, it's very clear that you've got 2 people or / more that have never worked in their lives and have never had to earn anything. And so this whole idea of them being overwhelmed because they do 2 Zoom calls a week, like, bitch, please. So many of us in lockdown are doing 2 Zoom calls an hour. Like, fuck off. And we actually have work to do after.
Well, don't forget they got to wait, too. They had to wait. It wasn't just Zoom calls.
True,
they had to wait.
True.
Clapping is real hard work, I'm telling you, especially in uniform.
I mean, the struggle is real, people.
Yeah, so everybody thinks the same. They're assholes and they're acting like they're working so hard. Meanwhile, the rest of us have worked way harder than that our entire lives. And it's really low also that they're saying that somehow it affects their kids and it's the Sussex's fault.
Uh-huh. Next, we'll be hearing that Meghan made Charlotte cry.
She pinched her. She pinched the baby. Oh, they denied that too. Here's the denial in the Daily Mail from Richard Kay. Here's the denial. Yes, she is juggling a lot with 3 young children at home while contributing when she can to the national effort. But she is very conscious that there are many, many more people under far more pressure than she is.
Uh-huh.
She sounds like that Lori Loughlin, doesn't she?
Oh, yeah. Like, she'll say something completely outrageous about being faith-based, and then all of a sudden she'll be like, oh, no, but I know I did wrong. Yeah, I mean, Kate understands that Tatler piece made her look tone deaf, especially considering that we're in a fucking pandemic.
Yeah. And
there are healthcare workers and doctors. They're working themselves to death. And
Yeah.
she's complaining about doing a Zoom call a week.
And then she couldn't help but, even in this rebuttal, they're like, oh yeah, she does work very, very hard.
And she doesn't. I mean, you know what no one's talking about anymore? That fucking struggle survey.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
The 5 questions that were supposed to be the most important thing Kate has ever done.
Yeah.
And that will be her lifelong work. She hasn't talked about that shit in months.
And they could have, if they were really serious about that, they could have expanded on it and increased it to at-home families during the pandemic and those really serious issues. Nope. Yeah.
So another part of the conversation is who was talking shit about Kate? And one of my theories is that it was the turnip toff revenge. And the turnip toffs are the rich bitch aristocratic women and men, I think, in Norfolk. And Kate and William have tried very hard to get in with that set. As the future king and future queen, you would think that they would be the leaders of that set, but they are not. Someone like Rose Hanbury is more the leader of that set. And we know... as we all know, Rose Hanbury and Prince William maybe definitely had an affair. And I tend to believe that Rose Hanbury might have had her finger in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a lot of people thought that because of the kind of disdain in the piece for new money and for the Middletons.
Oh, yeah. And there was a surprising amount of shade for the Middleton family as a whole, especially considering that the Middletons are usually positioned as the better family compared to the Windsors, and arguably maybe they are. But
yeah,
Carol is a social climber. She's never made it a secret. This was my favorite part, one of my favorite parts. It was just a reference to how Carol is always at Anmere Hall, their Norfolk home. A skilled craftsman who worked on Anmere Hall, William and Kate's country home, and is used to a roster of prestigious and potentially tricky customers, said that he found Carol the most difficult client he has ever worked with. She was exceedingly demanding, fussy, and questioned everything. Carol has put her stamp on Anmere decor-wise. Far from being a typical aristo abode with threadbare rugs and dog hair everywhere, like, say, Windsor and Balmoral, it is, according to a visitor, like a gleaming 5-star hotel with cushions plumped and candles lit. Another adds, it's very Buckinghamshire.
So they're throwing shade on her for having her mom decorate everything fakety fake.
Yeah, like very new money.
Yeah.
That Carol has basically moved into Anmere Hall and decorated it to her specifications. And she's ordering around all of the people who are trying to help William and Kate, which we've also already known for years, that Carol basically lives with them and that she stage manages their marriage and that she's ordering around their staff.
And there's all this stuff about how close William is to her, and that was denied in the Daily Mail too. They were pretty sensitive about that. So this was wonderful just for all the drama and details and for the fact that they spent so much time denying everything. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but that Richard Case story, that supposed rebuttal, it wasn't even a rebuttal of most of the information in Tatler. He nitpicked some of it, but most of it he just sort of repeated and just let it stand out there. I think that William, I don't know, maybe William didn't mind that some of the more critical parts against Kate and the Middletons were out there. Maybe he didn't want a rebuttal for that. Who knows? This is not the last we'll hear of it, and I'm sure that over the weekend we're going to hear even more, especially when the Sunday papers come out.
This is good dirt. Yeah, this is really good dirt because they're finally, somebody's tearing off the curtain. And this is stuff that royal followers, especially, you and people who follow it really closely, have known for a long time. But now it's kind of getting out in the open and it's getting more public attention, and it's amazing.
Well, and this is one of the reasons why I always said William and Kate were shooting themselves in the foot by exiling Harry and Meghan, because they pushed the issue so far and they smeared Meghan and Harry so much that Meghan and Harry, of course, they left. And now William and Kate are all alone. They have the spotlight all to themselves, which is what they thought they wanted. And this, of course, is going to happen. When you have the spotlight all to yourself, everyone's going to find out all of your bullshit.
Especially when you think that your shit doesn't stink.
Right. Especially when you don't have Harry and Meghan to hide behind anymore and to copy.
Yeah.
And to throw under the bus whenever you want.
No, but Harry and Meghan really hurt the Sussex children. It's all their fault.
Yeah, I heard that Meghan definitely made Lewis cry.
It's their fault that the kids have such bad haircuts now.
Definitely.
She's working so hard. She just like cut those kids' hair, or she dyed her own hair.
Oh, but did you notice, like, they even said Nanny Maria had to help her?
I have a question. Like, they're complaining that they can't drive the kids to school. When have they fucking driven the kids to school in the past 3 months?
Yeah, not since the pandemic, but Kate and William did used to do the school run, like legitimately, whatever.
So William could go work out with the women afterwards.
Yeah, I was gonna say that because William liked to meet up and have coffee with the yummy mummies at the gym afterwards.
Yeah.
This whole thing is shady. It's gonna be so much fun.
I want to read this. I want to play this clip of my friend Zakia reading the part where William. If you laugh at me, I have to leave it in where I say excerpt wrong like 4 times. Where I was like, fuck it, I'm using a different word.
I had to say Anmere Hall like 10 times.
I was like impressed by you that you pronounced that all fancy and shit. I was like, ooh, she knows how to say that. I would just say Anmer. So here's Zakia reading the part that she found the most ridiculous, where it admits that William is incandescent with rage at the Sussexes and they're reeling at them, issuing statements.
But there's this one quote that Kaiser highlighted that I cannot stop laughing at. I cannot stop laughing at the Tatler at Kensington Palace coming out and was like, no, we have no idea. And Tatler was like, no, you knew and you were a part of it. But is this one quote, a royal family under siege post Sussex exit? William is absolutely incandescent about Megxit. I can barely read it without laughing. A courtier confides, every time the Sussex issue a statement, it hits everyone like a fresh bombshell. The Cambridges are left reeling like everyone else. Everyone is terribly worried about how this is affecting the Queen. I lost it. Are you serious? They're gone, minding their business in California. We haven't heard from them in weeks. Why would you say the quiet part out loud?
We've heard that William is quote unquote incandescent with rage before.
During Sussex, right?
Well, apparently William was incandescent with rage then, too.
I mean, here they are going point by point on this stupid fucking Tatler story when they couldn't say one word in defense of Meghan because they were behind it.
Yep. I mean, it's so enlightening to see how quickly Will and Kate have responded to this Tatler debacle and how silent they were in comparison to all of the shit about Meghan.
Well, Meghan just couldn't let the kids wear tights. That's such a bad thing. Like, come on.
Yeah, that was the beginning of the end, apparently.
I mean, that really shows how obnoxious and how much they policed Meghan.
Yeah.
At her own wedding, that she couldn't say, oh, it's okay. The little kids don't have to wear tights today. You know, let's just let them be comfortable. Mm-hmm. All right. So you wanted to talk about Lana Del Rey, and I was like, no, I hate her. But
well, it's Lana Del Rey, right?
That's why I didn't want to talk about her. I don't even know how to say their name.
Well, we could just do this real quick. Okay. All right. So a week and a half ago, Lana Del Rey, out of fucking nowhere. No one was talking about her. No one was even mentioning her or shading her or anything. She just out of nowhere writes this Instagram thing about how she doesn't want to be criticized anymore for being fragile and for being glamorous, and that Beyonce and Ariana and Cardi, they all get so much positive attention and praise for singing about fucking and having damaged relationships and having abusive relationships. And why can't you recognized that Lana was one of the first people to sing about that kind of stuff and praise her. And everyone was like, bitch, what the fuck? And she kept on issuing statements about it. She did like 3 or 4 statements after that. And it just became more and more convoluted. No one could even understand her reasoning.
Okay, so the first statement she wrote, she called out a bunch of people. Cardi B,
It wasn't
Kalan.
a call out, though. It wasn't a call out. I think she was just saying, I'm better than them. It wasn't really a call out.
Okay, she was saying, reality, I'm just a glamorous person singing about the realities of what we all are now. Whatever. I can't even read it. Her writing is so bad.
Yeah. I gave her the benefit of the doubt with the first statement. I'm like, she was trying to make a point. I don't agree with that point, but she was trying to make a point. She just made it poorly. As she kept going, it was just about how fragile she is and how delicate and how no one will respect her because she's white.
She didn't say white, but she uses so many coded words that refer to white.
Uh-huh. And she kept on comparing herself to black women and saying that the black women were treated better, and that's why she was mad. That was where everyone was getting the white thing, is because she was like, I can't believe you treat FKA Twigs better than me. Well, bitch, come on.
She said it's about advocating for a more delicate personality.
Uh-huh.
That's coded racism. That's racism right there, saying that you're delicate and that black women are somehow not feminine or not delicate. It was bad, and she just kept issuing obnoxious statements.
It was also clear that some of the women that she mentioned had contacted her. She kept on talking over them. She was like, I know that some of you contacted me, but here's what I think. I still think this. And here's just a general thought to Lana and whoever else is going to defend her. Just sit back and listen to the criticisms. Just absorb them.
It's too late for those people, Chandra. Like, it's way too late for most of those people.
I don't think it is.
Sorry to
I
interrupt you.
don't think it's ever too late to just take a moment and sit back and actually listen to the critics and try to figure out if they are saying something that you need to hear. And Lana hasn't done that. And she's too old to not listen to people like that. Speaking of Karens.
Okay, speaking of Karens, good segue there.
Hi, I'm recording this later. Before we get into this, it's worth noting that Chandra and I had this conversation early on Thursday afternoon before the protests around the U.S.
So earlier this week, we saw a video where a woman in Central Park was threatening to call the police on a black man telling her to leash her dog. First, she was pissed off at him and kind of threatening him and coming towards him, and he told her to back off. And then she said she was going to call the police, and he was like, go ahead. And then she called 911 saying that there was an African-American man threatening her life. And the thing that made the video chilling is how quickly she switched from being aggressive and pissed off at him to acting fake scared.
While she was strangling her dog.
Yeah, and her dog was really choking, basically. This little Cocker Spaniel.
And I mean, it was just disturbing. I think the story caught fire in such a big way because, number one, of course, it was another epic Karen moment that was captured on video, and her white woman tears performance was captured so well. But I think it also captured a lot of people's attention because it had a happy ending. She was identified very quickly online. Her boss, Franklin Templeton, suspended her immediately and then fired her. We found out the man's name, Christian Cooper, very quickly, and everyone fell in love with him. It became this very cool story about this gorgeous man who loves to birdwatch. And I mean, he belongs to the Audubon Society, and he's a total nerd. He's Harvard educated, and everyone's now in love with this guy. So it's a happy ending, even though it's an absolutely terrible story.
It is a terrible story, and it shows white people trying to weaponize the police against people of color for their own purposes just because they're inconvenienced.
Right. And you would think that after all of these huge Karen moments that are captured on video, you would think white women would stop fucking acting like that. Stop calling the cops on black people for doing nothing.
I've seen it happen with an acquaintance. I was at a sunflower festival. There were not a lot of black people around, and one black guy was with his friends. He was 20s, and he smacked a sunflower. Well, other people were screwing around with the sunflowers too. You're not really supposed to. And she was like, did you see that man? No, no, no. And I was like, the one black guy that we've seen? You know, other people are doing that too. I think that it's an issue that you're picking out the one black guy. Well, I don't see color. And I was like, oh, bitch.
I just don't understand the whole idea of using 911 or any police force as your like own personal security force or your own personal grievance hotline. Don't do that. If someone annoys you, do not call 911.
Well, if white people know that they can call 911 and they're never going to get shot, you know, a lot of people are pointing to the police murder of George Floyd for suspected forgery with how they treated that mass murderer, Dylan Roof. He went into a church in South Carolina for a Bible study and everybody was super nice to him. He shot up he killed everybody there. And then the cops bought him Burger King. And we're also seeing the protests against George Floyd's death where cops are tear gassing people who are protesting with no weapons. Meanwhile, a couple weeks ago, our militia stormed fucking Capitol buildings with guns and were in cops' faces and they didn't do anything.
I don't think that the Minnesota riots would have happened if the cop had immediately been arrested. They fired him immediately, but he wasn't arrested. And it was on camera. It should have been cut and dry. You fire him immediately, the DA opens an investigation. Period. The end.
There's two different laws for people. You know, there's two different realities. And it's dangerous for people of color to interact with the police, even to call the police for legitimate situations. And white people know that they can call the police for any fucking reason and nothing's going to happen to them.
Yeah, and just the smoothness with which Amy Cooper transitioned to her like white woman victim act. What would have happened if he hadn't been videoing? She would have gotten away with so much. And that raised the whole thing of how many times has she done this? How many times has she done it at work?
That's probably why they fired the bitch right away. They're like, oh my God, we've been trying to get rid of her forever. But she lost her dog too. Oh, and I found on Instagram, so she used to have an Instagram account for her dog. Her dog has been hurt a bunch of times. And she admits in the Instagram post, and so people have duped this Instagram that she had because she took it down, but they copied it. So her dog almost drowned in Central Park. And then he also ripped off a toenail running in the park and had to have like a special little thing on his paw.
Right, because she would never keep it on its leash. And she also is probably fucking crazy and she's like munchhousing the dog.
I think she just lets the dog do whatever. And you can keep the dog from choking themselves if you get a special harness for them. If the dog is real wild, you get a special harness. Oh, whatever.
Oh, I cannot even tell you how many good dogs I've seen on all my walks. Aww. They've all been good dogs. They've all been like well behaved on their leashes. A couple of small ones have not been on their leashes and they just stay with their mom or dad. They don't run off. It's real cute to see how many good puppies there are.
All right, I'm going to go on a walk today. Oh, before we go to the user feedback, I want to play this excerpt from Zoom where Rhiannon admitted that she likes Ben Affleck and everyone was making fun of her. And then the conversation turned to your love of Diplo.
I'm sorry, what's your name?
My name is Rhiannon and I love Ben Affleck.
Okay. All right, we're going to have an intervention.
Definitely.
You and Anna.
Kate, you need to talk to Chandra about Diplo because that's just gross.
Yeah, I look at those pictures of him shirtless and they turn my stomach. He's so disgusting.
It's like he hasn't showered in a year.
Yes.
You'd have to go straight from him to the sexual health clinic straight away and confess all and be like, I'm so sorry. This is what I've done. Just test me. I deserve whatever I've got.
All right, first of all, having a crush on Ben Affleck is disgusting.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
All right, let's just say that. Can you imagine his Botox face, Phoenix back tattoo having girth on top of you. Gross.
Don't. But that doesn't make just because he's skeezy. And yeah, you would have to go to the STD clinic right after you fuck Diplo or Ben Affleck. True.
All right, but like Diplo, like he has a really good body. Like, yeah,
you like that rangy.
I don't mind a rangy redneck type, and that's what he is. He's like a Florida redneck. The gold tooth is really not doing it for me, and neither are the crazy redneck extensions.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still would. I would put like a bag over his head or something. No,
you wouldn't. You'd look into his eyes.
I would not tell a fucking soul if I ever fucked him, though. I wouldn't.
You tell me.
I would not.
So I tried to explain. I know that's why you like them, because I tried to explain to them that we live in rural Virginia and some of the hottest guys are like the outdoor workers. I mean, I'm not into them, but
no, there are some cute, like rednecky type of guys out here.
Yeah, we have some. All right, let's move on to the user feedback. We heard from a listener, Ashley. She tweeted us, "I love y'all. I'm a daily visitor of your website and an avid listener of the podcast. Keep up the good work." And I responded to her. I tried to get her to join our Zoom chats, but I didn't hear back from her. If you guys want to join those, we meet Wednesdays at 4. I'll put the link in this post. And Gil commented on our podcast post, "The thing I love most about the podcast is Chandra's laughter. She really makes my day."
Aw, that's really nice.
It was sweet. And then Angie tweeted, "The podcast is so good. I can't wait for the next podcast about the Tatler gossip."
Yep.
All right. So did we deliver, Angie? Let us know. Let's move on to the comments of the week. All right. My comment of the week is from the story about Ana de Armas being a great influence on Ben Affleck. So we had photos of her FaceTiming Ben and his kids while she went shopping with a friend and her friend's baby. It's like a toddler girl, and the girl was in a stroller. And Jules commented, "We were all hoping Stroller Cat would be in that stroller, right?" Cute kid, though. And Light Purple said, "Stroller Kitty, why have you forsaken us in our time of need?" So Stroller Kitty is Jennifer Garner and the kid's cat that rides around in a stroller with like a mesh covering over it when she goes out with her kids. And Ben and Anna's outing with the kids, which got caught by the paparazzi, Stroller Kitty was too good for that.
I think Stroller Kitty is kind of thirsty, just as thirsty as Ben Affleck, actually. But maybe that's just me.
A high level of thirst to reach that. But yeah, Jen has her own unique brand of mom thirstiness. It's like a thirst for Tang. Or Capri Sun.
Don't forget about me.
Yeah.
All right, my comment of the week was from one of the Lana Del Rey stories. It was like one of the last times that she had her like crazy hissy fit about being glamorous and fragile. All right, so Biff says, "I'm so confused. I've tried to follow this. I just don't understand her posts at all. English isn't my first language, so I think that's why I don't get it. But it seems like native English speakers are struggling too. Her posts just read as a fever dream to me." And Alyssa goes, "I'm a native English speaker and I have literally no idea what she's talking about." And that's how all of us English speakers feel about Lana Del Rey at this point. We're like, what is she talking about? Is she... what?
That's why I didn't want to cover it. I couldn't understand what the hell she's trying to say. She can't write.
She was just talking in crazy circles. And I still don't understand why she wanted that fight or why she was trying to make that point. I still don't get it.
What point was... oh, that she gets treated unfairly because she's a delicate white woman.
Yeah, that was her overwhelming argument. Like, she's not promoting anything. She was announcing that her album is going to come out in September. She just said it out of nowhere.
She must be bored.
I guess. But yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, bitches.
Thanks, bitches.
Thank you for listening to the Celebrity Podcast. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. If you like us, please turn off your ad blocker when you visit our site. You can text us or leave a voicemail at 434-218-3219. Our music is from AA Alto, Maiden, and via Premium Beat and Sound of Picture. Thanks again.
All right, well, that was fun.
It was fun. It's good talking to you.